I'm Val Vickery, and I'm a volunteer with Jacksonians for Jackson, and I'm holding this. I hope the church has better offering baskets than this one, but we're thankful for whatever we got. We got stuff in here. Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. Oh, good. Setting the example. Thank you, sir. All right. Okay. Now, we get asked a lot of times, why do you need money? Well, we've been asked, why don't you form a PAC? You need a political action committee. You need to be that. Well, we either need volunteers that know how to do it, or we need money so we can pay somebody that will do it. Those are the kind of things that stand in our way to keep us from doing everything that we'd like to do for Jackson to become a vibrant city again. And I like to visualize that day when we cannot even contain this place because there's so much excitement at what's going on and all the people that are moving back into our city, the businesses, the houses that are being fixed up, the blighted properties that are gone, the crime what crime? That's what we want. And we have a man here that has put himself out there and said, I've got some ideas. And we are just delighted tonight that we have Marcus Wallace, and I'm going to let him tell why you want this job. Okay, thank you. Let's welcome Marcus Wallace.
Good evening. First of all, thank you all. I want to thank this beautiful church for allowing me to come speak with you all this evening. I am Marcus Wallace. Give you a few facts about me that you can remember. I gave you all a lot of information to take home to read up on, and I think it's kind of like a storybook as to who I am and what I've done as it relates to public service. I don't even like to use the word politics. But I've just briefly, I've served 2 terms as the former mayor of Edwards, Mississippi. Just to give you some real facts that you can research as far as it relates to me being the mayor of Edwards. Out of the 2 terms, I balanced the budget every year. The town had no lawsuits during my time as mayor of Edwards, and there was only 1 homicide. I used to say murder, and if you see on one of my boards it says murder, but that's a little too harsh, so I would say homicide. And I actually went and got the suspect myself. We had one of the fewest crime rates among small municipalities in the state of Mississippi, and I kind of pride myself on that. As far as crime is concerned, I have a zero tolerance for foolishness, plain and simple. I do not tolerate any foolishness as it relates to crime. But I do also would say, as it relates to crime, when my son was 7th grade, I grabbed 25 young men when they were in 7th grade, and I was with them from 7th grade all the way through college. I can tell you most of these young men, they don't have fathers. They have no guidance. They need somebody who can love on them and love tough. And that's what I did. I spent a lot of time with those young men. Out of 25, 2 of them I lost to car accidents. 1 of them I lost to a carjacking charge. He's serving 35 years. But about 17 of those young men, I was able to get college scholarships for them. They graduated from college. And how I did that, I started up an AAU basketball team, which is why I don't understand why the municipalities don't understand the importance of sports. I grew up in the Grove Park community when we moved from Edwards to Jackson, and those community sports means a lot. I've served on the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame board for about 10 years, and just last year, when we make nominations, over the last couple of years, I've nominated a community coach who played a very intricate role in Western Hinds County. He developed and raised about 5 generations of young men. And so I kept nominating him for the Rube Award, which is the award named after Michael Rubenstein, and was unable to ever get him that award. Well, I finally talked the board, and we created a new award. And I don't know if you all may know Bill Hedrick, Lord rest his soul. He was a realtor here in the city, and we created a community service award called the Bill Hedrick Award. And that award is specifically for community coaches, because I explained to the board how important community coaches are. They're the ones who actually start us from little toddlers on up to prepare us for high school and middle school sports. And so that award is now where we can actually walk in and see community coaches in the Sports Hall of Fame Museum. But I can, again, like I said, crime is a huge issue in this city, and but I do know we got to find a way to replace the guns with tools and knowledge. One of the things that I plan to do as mayor of Jackson, at least once a quarter, I plan to go down to the Raymond Jail and actually start rehabilitating the young men that's incarcerated to prepare them for when they come back out in the world. I often talk about, I've been in construction about 26 years, and there's a lot of workforce development that we could do for some of these young men. When you talk about workforce development, you always hear people talk about truck driving, being a chef, or things like that. Well, from a business mind standpoint, I think we should identify the need of what we really need here in the city, and that is infrastructure. Let's workforce train these young men how to put water and sewer lines in the ground and lay asphalt, and that way we can get them to help us rebuild our infrastructure. But I was over the construction part of the Siemens project, which we did about 100 water and wastewater projects, and we also installed 65,000 water meters. Well, during that time, my construction company hired about 138 employees. About 70 of those employees were guys who were formerly incarcerated, or they were dope dealers on the street. And I can tell you all, for those guys to get up every morning to go install a water meter or to be a part of a construction project, it meant the world to them. I literally had some of those guys come in my office with tears in their eyes. And let me pause for a minute. My mom surprised me. She stepped in here on me, and she was my one of my account managers for my construction company over the years. And she'll tell you, we had some guys come in with tears in their eyes and, Mr. Wallace, nobody give us a chance. And so I know we got to get crime under control, but it's more than just locking somebody up. It's more than just the crime itself, y'all. It's a lot of other components that go with that. These young men are out here trying to find their way, and that's not to give them an excuse of committing crime, but we got to identify the problems that's causing them to do these things. And I can tell you all, not from assumption, I can tell you all some of the things that I've experienced with them over the years, and it has actually worked. But again, like I said, just to get back on a few factual things, like I said, the town never had a lawsuit. We had one murder during the homicide during my 2 terms as mayor of Edwards, and we balanced the budget every year. When I first got to Edwards, my police department was making $8.50 an hour. I literally had tears in my eyes driving back home. I just could not believe it. And the guy that I'm telling you about that I got into the Hall of Fame, he was the police chief for about 30 years, making $24,000 a year. He was the school bus driver for the kids, and he was the community coach. And when I found out the salary that he made, and my mama tell you, when he was coaching us, he never asked a parent for a dime. Can y'all imagine a $24,000 a year salary, coaching 5 generations of young men, never asking parents for any money? And I think a lot of us turned out pretty good. But like I said, when I saw that was a real big problem for me, and I instantly went to work. Before I left Edwards, I was able to get them their salary up to $12.50 an hour. I'm still not happy about that, but I was at least able to get them a raise. And from the cars to the equipment, I made sure they had everything that they needed. When it comes to the city of Jackson, I tell folks, and I use this analogy, when Deion Sanders was here at Jackson State and he left and went to Colorado, he went to a bigger university, but he took his playbook with him. And because I get a lot of people sometimes saying, well, you were the mayor of a small town, Edwards, we talking about Jackson. Only difference to me is bigger budget, bigger city. Same rules and regulations, same ordinances, you name it. And so some of the things that I did in Edwards that worked for me was I tell people, Jackson need what you call some now solutions. Everybody gets in a room and talk about plans and things of what they're going to do, but these plans take 2-3 years and sometimes they don't ever happen. Well, you, the citizens, and I'm sure y'all agree with me, y'all are looking for some now solutions, something that we can do now. Give you a good example. I'll take crime, for instance. We know that we're about 200 and something officers short in this city. We also know that it's going to take a while to recruit officers and put them through training and things like that. Well, with the crime that we're having, we can't afford to wait for a recruiting class. When I got to Edwards, I had about the same similar issue. I had about 20 young men just terrorizing the town. And what I did was I created a part-time program where I allowed certified officers from other municipalities to come in and work. We always talk about police, firemen, and teachers are our essential workers, and we try to get them as much pay as we can, part-time jobs or whatever. So I said, well, because I don't have time to try to get some extra funding, I'm going to create a part-time program, and I'm going to let a certified officer from Port Gibson come to Edwards and work, get him about 25 hours part-time. Well, that's how I was able to build a strong police force. Same thing I would do here in Jackson, because the problem that we're having in Jackson is the police response time and the police presence. Criminals in this city know that it takes 30 minutes to maybe not even showing up for an officer to respond. So we got to get more officers on the street so we can get this response time under 10 minutes. Okay, and criminals know that. They know that they can shoot somebody or rob or whatever, and they got time to get to the highway or wherever, because I found this out about a month ago. There are only 3 to 5 officers on the shift. There is no way officers can police a precinct with 3 to 5 officers on the shift. It's actually putting those men and women in a lot of danger trying to respond to calls, and it's only 3 to 5 of them. So that's one of the main things I would do. That's what I mean about now solutions. Another one, when we talk about economic development, we all know that Jackson is 80 to 85% African American. And let me tell you all, as an African American, I feel we don't have to keep saying that in the room. We don't have to keep saying that. Black and whites know that Jackson is majority African American. But I'm a mayor that's for everybody. I believe in a good mayor is only as good as his relationship with his delegation. There are a lot of things, I tell y'all, when I was mayor, there was a lot of things that Governor Reeves did that I didn't like. But guess what? I had to always remember he is my governor. And in order for me to be a successful mayor, I gotta have my governor. I gotta have a relationship with the Board of Supervisors. And so I was able to get things done because I had that attitude. If you drive to Edwards, Mississippi right now on the major streets, usually in a small municipality, they'll give you $100,000, or when they do appropriations every year at the end of the session, if you get 50 to 100,000, you're doing good as a small town. I was able to get $1 million at one time to pave streets. If you go to Edwards, Mississippi right now on the major streets, you can ride with 3 cups of coffee on the dashboard, and I guarantee you not one will fall. But that was because of the relationships. I don't know if y'all know a lot of history about Edwards, but Edwards has some of the best water in the state. It's brown, it looks like tea, And when you take a bath, it's some of the smoothest water you could bathe in. But the citizens down there, they want clear water now. We used to brag about the water, but everybody just want clear water. And the health department would never give me money to get clean water in the town of Edwards. And so what I did was I put my business hat on and I identified a company out of Pennsylvania called Calgon. They actually have a plant on the coast, I think, where they actually sell the carbonated, the carbons or something like that for the filtration system. And they came in and they did a pilot test. It was gained national press from this pilot test. And what they did was they went up and met with EPA, Department of Justice, federal government to talk about the water quality in the small rural towns. And everybody got to get their water straight. Edwards, Bolton, Colgan, the water districts, everybody. And so we all know that building a new well is going to cost a lot of money. And so Calgon has this filtration system that they use where they come in and put these filtrated tanks, and it actually filters the water through and it cleans it, it sends back out clean water. A lot of towns, small towns outside of Monroe has this system, but nobody here in Mississippi has it yet. And so I started working on that and wasn't able to get it done before I left Edwards, but about 4 months ago, Edwards was awarded $2.5 million for this filtration system, and hopefully they'll be putting it in soon. And I did it because I not only want to get the clean water for the citizens of Edwards, but I also wanted it to serve as a model for all the other small towns, because I kind of started doing a little consulting work now where I meet with other small municipalities, and I need a model here instead of taking everybody over to outside of Monroe. So hopefully, Lord say the same, Edwards will be getting some clean water here real soon. But those are just some of the examples of now solutions that I'm saying. I know, and to get to your question, this slogan here, resilient but tired. Whenever storms hit, or any major disasters we've had in the cities, all the politicians get on the news and say, Jacksonians are resilient, but we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And so when I started out my journey, I said, you know what? Jacksonians are resilient, but we're also tired. And there's another word that you can add to the end of it. I think you can say hell in the church, can't you? That's what I would say if I'm upset. We're resilient, but we're tired as hell. And so that's where that slogan came from. And my grandmother, I was what you call a cafe baby. Back in the day, the people had cafes in the small rural areas, and they had the houses hooked to the cafes. So while granddad and grandmama selling whiskey, I'm out, the children out in the yard playing, and that was me. My grandfather was also the first African-American chief in Edwards, Mississippi. And my grandmother, before she passed, she said, Marcus, you need to go back home and help make a difference. And I was like, my dear, my construction company doing well. Why you? She said, I didn't ask you that. Go home and help make a difference. That's how I ended up getting in public service. And when I went down and ran for Edwards, a handful of citizens that really fought me hard. But I started feeling that this is something that God had tasked me to do. And I took that issue all the way to Supreme Court, spent that money out of my pocket, and I won. And the Supreme Court said, you know what, y'all put him on the ballot. They put me on the ballot, had a new election. I ended up winning mayor of Edwards. And the night I won, and this is my drive from that point on to now, an 80-year-old man came to me that night with tears in his eyes, and he said, son, we never thought we would see hope here in Edwards again. And y'all, honestly, that has been my drive in public service ever since. And when I lost the mayor's election in Edwards, I lost to a gentleman that comes from a huge family. And y'all know we haven't really just fully learned the political process yet. A lot of people vote based on kinfolk, and all that stuff. Might not know a hill of beans about, government or anything, but that's my cousin. So I'm gonna vote for my cousin. And so I ended up losing that election. And right now, I stand here in the church and tell you, if I don't get 3 to 5 people calling me every day saying, come back to Ellis, Mississippi, my name and I'm Marcus. But I told them I don't have a rearview mirror in my car. I'm moving forward. And that's why when I lost, I ended up here in Jackson. I moved in the heart of downtown Jackson to run for mayor, because I do believe God has tasked me to come here to help you all fall back in love with your city. That's exactly why I'm here, to help you all fall back in love with your city, because we all have lost a lot of love and, just like I said, resilient but tired. But that kind of sums a little bit up about me. I have 3 children. They all grown and gone. That's just one of the things I pride myself on. My oldest daughter graduated from UCLA. My middle child graduated from Tennessee State. And my baby boy graduated from University of Arkansas Pine Bluff. He just recently got his master's about a month ago from Arkansas Pine Bluff. So I'm done. I'm done with cheering, I would say. I can, and I think that is perfect time for me to enhance my public serving, because the things that I really that was bogging me down, which was raising children, now I don't have any of that now. I've been in construction about 26 years, so that is a huge advantage that I think I bring to the table, because one of the main things that I think this city needs, and we will hit the ground probably running the first week, is cleaning this city up. People talk about picking up paper, but that's just an inkling. I don't like the way the grass is cut. To me, cutting grass and you waiting long periods of time to cut it and hay sitting on top of it, to me, that's not cutting grass. When you cut grass and you don't edge the curves, to me, that's like going to the barbershop not getting the line when you get a haircut. So those are the little things that I look at. The concrete barriers on the highway, they need pressure washing. The viaducts around the city have not been clean in 100 years. If you can't clean it, paint it. So those are the type of things that I would do, because I know cosmetically that's going to brighten y'all's day. Again, I'm here to help y'all fall back in love with your city. So in order to do that, what gets us excited when we see a pretty woman, when she dressed up and she look good, right? So that's what I got to do for the city of Jackson. I got to first get her clean and get her nice looking, so you all can see. Another thing that I pride myself on since I've been in public service, most politicians, they make decisions based on what's political and popular, because they're trying to get back in the next term. I don't do that. I make the hard decisions. The term that I'm there, I make the hard decisions, and if you like what I'm doing, then hopefully you'll vote me back in. But if not, I can walk away saying I did the right thing. So I'm going to do things that are right. I'm not going to do things that are political and popular. I don't make decisions based on whether it's a Democrat or the area is fully Republican. I do what's right. I don't make decisions because it's black or white. I make decisions based on what is the right thing to do at that particular time. I'm not going to pave a street over in this area just because I know somebody when I know there's a huge pothole in this area. So those are the type of things, and what I've done, that has been very successful for me, to make those decisions not based on what's political and popular, to do what's right. And that's it's all about balancing. Being a good mayor, one thing I learned being a 2-term mayor in a small town, is all about balancing. You can't make everybody happy, but you can sure make most of the people happy. And that's kind of where I am as far as that part is concerned. Give you another good example of what I mean by that. A lot of decisions are going to have to be made, and I tell folks change is pain, but sometimes it's necessary. The Jackson Zoo needs to go to Lakeland Drive, hands down. I know I'll probably get a lot of drawback from that, but from a business standpoint, it's a no-brainer. You can spend $100 million on Capitol Street. Y'all, me, and everybody else not going to Capitol Street, to the zoo. And we got to get out of this brick and mortar attitude here in the city. If it don't work, it's time for it to go. Move that zoo to Lakeland Drive where the children, I call the children district already, is there. When they finish, you know, I used to be a baseball coach on Lakeland. When we have 2-3 hour breaks in between games, we go to the zoo. On one side of Lakeland Drive is where I would put the zoo. On the other side, I would propose to the state for a state-of-the-art aquarium. When you drive down 55 at night, it's lit up with fish and everything. We got to start illuminating our city, y'all. The city at night, I don't know if many of y'all ride the city at night, but the city looks boring. It looks dead. It looks just like we're not open for business. We gotta illuminate. We got to change the lighting. We gotta light our city up. We gotta get people excited to come in here. And outside of working hard and developing our city, we gotta create some leisure and entertainment. Nobody wants to continue to just work and just go to church. We want to have a little fun too. And you know, those are the things that I'm looking at as mayor of this city, to bring economic development, to beautify the city, to cut this crime, you name it. And so those are the things in a nutshell. As far as Marcus Wallace is concerned, I want to open the floor up and answer you all's questions. I know some of you all or all of you all may want to get to the DNC in front of the TV to see the last night, and so I don't want to hold you all long. What I did was, that's why I created those copies for you all, because it tells you my desire to be your next mayor. It tells you some of the things that I'm going to focus on. It's also 2 sheets in there to show you all the accomplishments and things I did in the town of Edwards. So when people say I didn't do anything, the proof is in the pudding. So I want to open the floor up and let you all ask me questions, and hopefully I can answer them. And if I can't answer them, I promise you I'm going to tell you all, let me do some research and I'll get back with you all on that.
Basically, we find the city, the district is cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
What's the struggle with that happening now? What systems do you think or know about that need to be changed that's not happening now?
I can tell you exactly what's going on now. I've been in construction 26 years. I've done a lot of projects for the city of Jackson over the years. There's no work being done. And as a mayor and as a contractor, one thing I can tell you is, if you don't routinely maintenance your municipality, you're going to have the problems like we're having. You know, there are streets. My parents have owned business up on Bailey for 40 plus years. Right there on Bailey Avenue by the Trustmark, we had never seen it flood there up until a few years ago. Well, that comes from these ditches are not being cleaned. I think it's White Oak. I was one of the Well, I've heard, let me just say that, I've heard that a lot of money has been moved to different places, and there's not money to do certain things. Your cemeteries, for instance, come on, we gotta have a budget line item to cut the cemeteries. There should never be no money not to cut cemeteries, but the money has been moved to other places from what I understand. But the ditches have not been cleaned, therefore that's causing flooding. When you have flooding and water sits on streets for days or weeks, it creates potholes. A lot of our streets are in the shape that they're in because there's 3 stages of maintaining streets: crack sealing, potholes, and surfacing. If you do those things, if you take a street, if you've done an evaluation on it and the street only needs crack sealing, you crack seal it, that may give you 6 months to a year to get the funding to be able to surface that street or to fix the potholes. So again, none of the maintenance is being done. I haven't seen street stripes being done in the streets. I haven't seen that, and have y'all? I haven't even seen that. No street striping. The signal lights have not been serviced and repaired. Potholes. I did back here, I think it was 4 years ago. they had about $4 million budgeted to do potholes, because it was a crisis at one point. Remember when the young lady lost her life on the manhole? And I don't know if y'all saw, I got into a major argument with the mayor at the council meeting about that. And, I told him, I was like, what you think a manhole without a lid is? It's a pothole, right? Young lady lost her life because it wasn't a lid on the manhole. And so what I did was, as a businessman, I went and purchased 2 state-of-the-art pothole trucks. Because back in the day when Mayor Johnson was in office, I did potholes manually. And anybody in construction, you know that when you go to the asphalt plant, if you don't have a way to keep the asphalt hot, by the time you make it from the plant back over this way, it's hard. So I could only get about a yard of asphalt to do potholes at that time. Well, these trucks that I bought had 6-yard ovens on them. And when you put the asphalt in, it was the oven that kept the asphalt hot. So we were able to do 20, 25 potholes a day. And it's another African-American company in the city that's got 2 trucks. So it's between the 2 of us, we got 4 pothole trucks. We could get a lot of potholes done. None of us been able to get opportunities from the city. None of us. And I'm talking about, it is some death traps around this city, y'all. I mean, I ride the city probably 3 or 4 times a week, and I can tell y'all, there's some potholes in this city that
There's sinkholes.
Oh, I'm trying to find another word. I think it's past the sinkhole. Yeah, oh yeah. But it's some streets that instead of them fixing it, they've just cut the streets off. They got tree logs blocking the street where you can't go down it. I mean, it's over on the west side, south side. It's terrible. It's terrible. And then when we were doing the Siemens project, there are actually streets where water has washed the soil underneath off. It may be an 8 to 10 foot hang. We opened up a few streets. It was 8, 10 foot drop, and it's just a blessing that heavy, trucks and things like that haven't, fell into, caved streets in and stuff. We're in a bad situation when it comes to infrastructure, and it's not just because of they've been doing us wrong. It's because we have not been getting work done. And I can tell y'all that because I've been in construction and I've done a lot of projects for the city.
Okay, there's a lot of you that are out there saying you want to be mayor, and lots of good ideas, lots of people that recognize that we've had some broken systems for a long time.
That's right.
We've also got a strong mayor system. That's the way it's set up. We have not had any kind of getting along between the executive and the legislative branches of our. What are the checks and balances that you're going to put in if you get elected mayor that's going to ensure that we have integrity 8 years, 12 years down the road, and not moving things around and secrecy and no answers to any of these questions? What would you put into place that's going to assure that integrity is the future of your administration?
That's a good question. You know what's missing, not just with the city, but all levels of government here, is passion. Y'all remember I said this, being the mayor of Edwards is the best thing could have happened to me running for Jackson. Outside of the existing mayor, I will be the only person on the ballot that says I actually got experience as a mayor. I think that's going to be big. And the reason why I say that is because when I first got to Edwards, I had a board that was a beast. They gave me pure HELL. But I had to soon realize that I'm the mayor. I control the tone of this whole setup. And once I did that, out of 2 terms, these are just numbers I'm throwing out. If I brought 75 issues to the table, they only turned down about 3 of them after that. It's all about relationships. It's all about communication. One of the biggest problems we've had in the city of Jackson is the mayor hasn't really respected the council like he should. I don't think a mayor should bring forth an idea and the council finds out about it a day before or a couple of days before. I believe in having work sessions, sitting down with your board, getting their ideas for their ward, and try to somehow implement them into your idea. It's all about respect. That's been the biggest problem. That's been the biggest problem. As far as all this sneaky stuff, you can go to Ellis, Mississippi. I promise you, they will tell you they never experienced that. And we standing in the church house now, and there's I can't remember exactly the Bible verse, but it talks about faithful over few, Lord, to make you rule over many. I think that's the perfect example for me. I think Lord sent me to Ellis, Mississippi to prepare me for those type of things. So coming to Jackson won't be any different. If I didn't steal or do anything wrong with $500,000 budget, I'm not going to do wrong with a $400 million budget. I've shown the type of servant that I'll be from a public standpoint when I was in Edwards. I'm telling you, I really believe that was meant for me to do that. I made $500 a month being the mayor of Edwards. I spent $1,000 driving back and forth. Does that answer your question? Okay. Yes, sir.
Marcus, and you had said I could call you that.
That's right.
So nobody knows.
No.
How do you feel? So, first of all, your idea is revolution.
Thank
right?
you.
Because you're not a lawyer, you're not a preacher. You're a businessman, you're a construction person. So, when you just said a moment ago, you can do this to a patch level, you can do this. Why do you get the money to do this? It's like, gosh, we're not just going to patch it. No, we're going to patch it and then get the money to fix it. So, how do you feel about a city manager form of government so that we will have somebody who professionally knows how to run a city if we don't keep a mayor in office who's professionally a politician rather than a real labor or construction owner who knows work, knows the streets, knows the infrastructure. You said infrastructure earlier. That's the first time I've heard a mayor say that since Harvey Johnson.
Yes, sir. I don't have a problem with a city manager, but let me just tell you, if the mayor got the right public works director, it won't be a problem. And if you all remember, this city has had the highest turnover rate as far as the top, the key people. We've had 6 public works directors. There's no way we can get the infrastructure in this city straight if we can't. I mean, the public works director is one of the mayor's main guys. And Lord knows, let me do a rain dance in the church. I got one individual that I am praying he come on board because he knows what he's doing. He's been an engineer in this city for a long time. I worked alongside of Neil Schaefer a number of years, and I promise you, he's one of the guys I'm praying that will come on board because I plan to have an all-star cast as far as my public works director, CAO, chief, all of that. But you got to have the right people on board. The mayor can't do it all by itself, and I'm not going to try. I've also been a sports agent over the years since '96, and I've never tried to be a financial advisor. I never tried to do endorsements and none of that. I just was the agent, and even in construction, I don't try to. I've learned how to do things like paint, concrete, asphalt, but I don't try to do that. I let people wear the hats that they experienced in wearing. And so, to answer your question, don't have a problem with a city manager, but if you got the right public works director, you won't have any problem at all. If you got the right police chief, you won't have no problem at all. If he understands that I don't tolerate no foolishness, oh yeah, trust me. Because let me tell y'all, as far as crime is concerned, when we were all 14, 15, 16 years old, we couldn't stay in the living room when grown folks were talking. You couldn't even get in grown folks' conversation. So when I say I have zero tolerance for foolishness, I can't sleep at night and I scratch my head all the time when I hear 14, 15-year-old people terrorizing the city. There's no way us men should let that happen. We got to do something about that. And trust me, a lot of them act bad as long as you let them act bad. But when you step up and you let them know you're not going to talk right there, they're going to get in line, trust me. And again, all of them, most of them are acting out because there's no love, there's no guidance. They trying to figure out how to eat. I tell folks all the time, think about it. If you didn't have a way to eat or feed your family, can you honestly say you wouldn't commit a crime? I mean, again, I'm not making excuses up for them, but I'm just telling y'all real life stuff as to what's going on out here. Some of these are good boys, but they not getting nothing at home, and the gangs and the dope boys and all that giving them everything they need. And that's why when they commit a crime, the reality hits them that I'm going to jail for the rest of my life, it's a shocker to them because they didn't think about that part. And I promise y'all, I'm going to the jail. I'm going to the jail at least once a quarter to talk with these kids, the ones who want to change. And we all know what's the best way to capture their attention. They locked up, so you're going to kind of get some of their attention. But the other way you capture their attention, you put a hot meal in their belly. They eating bologna sandwiches now without mustard and mayonnaise. But if I take some collard greens, rice and gravy, some oxtails down there, and we sit down and have a good lunch while we talk, y'all will be amazed at some of the guys that when Mr. Wallace coming back. So that's how I'm going to capture. And then once I do that, once I see the ones that want to change, as mayor, I'm going to go talk to Mr. Puckett at Puckett Machinery and other places and say, hey, I need you to take one of them old bulldozer track holes down to the jail. I'm going to get these guys out of this jail cell 23 hours a day. I'm going to let them go outside. We're going to build a big, huge fence where can't nobody escape, and we're going to let them dig some trenches and put some pipes in and let them learn. You'll be amazed at how it'll change some of these guys. Even from the female side, we need to come up with a way to get home economic back around here. Half of the women, young women, don't know how to cook. We got to change that. My mama about to ask me a question. I'm wondering what she's about to ask me.
I wanted to contribute answer the question that she asked about the money. When you said, my father used to say all the time, good money in bad areas. When he was talking about the zoo, too much money is spent trying to fix that broken zoo. I can't even remember the last time that I've been to the zoo. Marcus probably was about 3 or 4 years old. Not going. The money, the revenues that could be generated with a good smelling, good looking zoo in an area where people feel safe, would on a main interstate. Can you imagine the revenues, even people coming through during the summer months or vacation time with their kids and they want to stop driving and take a break. They see the zoo, they see the children's museum. I can't imagine the revenues.
But the flip side of that too is, so I left Jackson, I'm not from Jackson, I went to Jackson, I left Jackson, I've lived in Jackson. And I came back last summer, and this, the area around Jackson State does not look like it did over 30 years ago. And so while we are moving things north, and maybe more money, like we still need to that's still Jackson. And crime's not gonna get better if we just let it dilapidate
those are good points, and let me address that, because I've had on this campaign trail that's been asked several times. Well, what about the old zoo property? You know, we don't want Jackson to be abandoned. Okay. Again, keep in mind, I'm a cafe baby. Both sides of my family were entrepreneurs, so I got entrepreneur blood in my spirit, and I think business. The zoo, hands down, needs to go to Lakeland Drive, because from, like I said, that's the area where the children are. It just makes sense to move it where the children are, okay? But as far as the old zoo property, and these are my opinions, my ideas, you know, and I know everybody's not going to agree with them. The old zoo property falls in the area of the health corridor, right? Okay. What I would do is, and again, you know, being a former mayor and a businessman in this city, one thing I do understand is a lot of these issues are not black and white. It's not. The state may just sometimes want something to bargain with, if you understand what I'm saying. We got to understand as Jacksonians that we got to give a little to get something, okay? The state wants the zoo to move, okay? What I would do is, as mayor, I would go negotiate with the state and say, okay, I need to do something with this old zoo property. How about we do JSU School of Medicine? We need another hospital in this city because hospitals are crowded. Let's do an urban hospital and a JSU School of Medicine. Now we got a piece of JSU and a hospital in that area to service, you know, the people in that area. That's on one side. You got JSU in the middle. My other idea is we got to do something about the Veterans Stadium soon. It's raggedy. And I know this because I've done a lot of construction work the last couple of years on it. They got to do something. The state wants that property for UMMC. They're buying up properties from the hospital all the way to 220 for the big plans they have. They want the stadium, move the stadium to the Metro Center. You can build Metro Center property. It gives Jackson State the opportunity to build whatever size they want. If it's not enough room to go up, they can go in the ground. They could go across the street and put a parking garage where people say, well, you know, we want it on campus. Well, we got to think out of the box a little bit, because if you go to LSU and you move all those trees and all that stuff from the campus to the stadium, is almost from Metro Center to JSU campus. So in the process of giving them something that they truly want, which is Veterans Stadium, I would also say, how about y'all throw in a parkway from the campus that go all the way to the Metro Center? Then now you've done a massive development, and you know, because I really believe there are about 3 or 4 things that if we do here in the city of Jackson, we will instantly turn this city around. We moved that zoo to Lakeland Drive. We put that stadium at Metro Center where it's going to develop South and West Jackson back, because you're going to have a massive development in West Jackson to build South and West Jackson. That stadium will instantly bring hotels and restaurants. The property value is going to increase. You close to the stadium. Highway 80 going to turn into Hollywood Boulevard. All of that. If you do those few developments, I'm telling y'all, Jackson's going to come back. It's going to come back tremendously. As far as the law, you know, people talk, well, we got to get crime under control. I promise y'all, crime is not it's not an issue of getting under control. We got people at the top that's bickering. That's why we got the problem we got. The governor made the moves that he made with Capitol Police and things like that because he and the mayor don't get along. It's an ego thing, and the governor is getting calls from people saying, hey, we got to do something. And so he had to step up with Capitol Police and create this force. But a mayor, the governor, and everybody got to get in the room and realize you got to make deputy sheriffs, Hinds County Sheriff Department, JPD, and Capitol, the salaries need to be the same. They fighting in the same city. If a Capitol Police answering a call and he need JPD backup, that JPD officer may not respond because he getting paid way less than this officer. You got to think about folks' lives as well. make the salaries compatible across the board, give everybody jurisdiction over the entire city until we get this stuff under control. Create a task force that consists of gorillas. That's what I did in Edwards. I created a mayor's task force, and I call these guys my gorillas. And what I call them that because when the police department couldn't get the crime under control, and these guys shoot, just like this past week, they had 20 people to get shot. I activated this task force, and these guys here, they don't play no games. I had it to the point where when I activated my task force, they were people on Facebook saying, "Those black trucks in Edwards, because they knew when they came, they meant business. And I got about 10 officers that have called me over the last couple of weeks, and they all saying the same thing. They won't turn us loose. They won't let us fight crime like we were sworn in to do. And a lot of officers are quitting because of that.
In Jackson,
Oh, yeah.
there is a task force. There is a task force.
There's a task force, but it's still...
Strictly policing the law-abiding citizens.
There's a task force, but they holding them back. The mayor only wants the police to respond. He's not interested in being proactive. He wants to respond. If a shooting happens, he just wants them to respond to that shooting, do the case file, and that's it. He doesn't want to put 25, 30 unmarked cars in the city and have folks scared. Let me ask you all something. Think about this. When you're driving on 55, here in the city of Jackson, you may be driving just as cool and chilling. When you get past County Line Road going to Madison, everybody got their hands on 2 steering wheels, sitting upright. The same when you go to Pearl, because mentally they have trained our minds that you don't go in those areas acting crazy. We got to get that same tone and that mentality back into Jackson, and it can happen.
Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, how are you getting your message out? What's your plan to let people know? There's very few of us. I tell people about J4J, they didn't even know about it. But anyway, that's one question. And the other thing is all those plans about Metro Center and stuff. How would you finance? How would that be financed? How would we really pay for that? Or how would it be paid for?
I'm going to answer the last question first. Keep in mind, like I said, the state will give you funding, but you got to go as a businessman, you got to go with bargaining power, and you got to go with leverage. If I give them the Veterans Memorial Stadium, they will give us money to build a stadium at Metro Center for Jackson State. I've seen them they gave $200 million to the coast to expand the Coliseum, not to build it, to expand it. So money is not an issue. It's about getting to the table and understanding that you got to give something to get something, and it's got to work for everybody. So that's how I would do that. They will give some dollars, and then there are other federal dollars, public and private relationships that you can do. There's so many different things. The people want to come into Jackson and do business. The state wants Jackson to be great, but we got to do some things around here first to show them that we're serious in Jackson. We got to clean up Jackson first. You can't go ask for money when you got potholes everywhere. You won't even stripe the streets, the traffic lights out. You can't. They're not going to give you any money if you're not doing the simple things. Okay. Second thing, the first question was what now? Oh, it was about how I'm gonna get the message out.
Your particular, so people know who is Marcus.
Right. This is my playbook, and y'all see at the bottom it says 12/8/21. I started my campaign December 8, 2021. I've been out here for over 3 years. When I moved downtown, I started putting my message out. I think, Janice, you can kind of attest, I've been all over social media every day, all day. I have a truck and trailer because I don't really believe a lot in yard signs. I'm going to put a few yard signs, but I want my stuff rolling. I've had a truck and trailer with big, gigantic campaign signs that says Wallace 2025. I don't know if y'all seen them or not, but when I'm not moving all over the city with it, I got it parked diagonally across City Hall downtown, and it's been there for 3 years. It's been there for 3 years. Lord bless me, about 4 months ago, I bought a bus. I'll be the only mayor I've ever seen in the state of Mississippi that's gonna have a wrap bus like the president and the governor. It'll be coming out soon. And so I wanted my advertising to be rolling stock, because I may want to be in South Jackson today campaigning. I may want to be on County Line Road tomorrow. So I've been getting the message out. Last year I went to 47 funerals. This year I've been to 26. I've been to a host of church and pastor anniversaries. I've done a lot, even before I became mayor, I've done a lot in the community. And let me just tell you, let me give y'all some real important stuff. Almost forgot about this. People tried to convince me to run for mayor the last time, but I had a few things in Edwards that I wanted to finish up. Did not know that I was going to lose to a gentleman from a big family, but I was able to still put those things in place. And like I was telling you all about the water filtration, things like that. Just because I'm not there, things still got done. But my second term, 2019, I think, I ran for Transportation Commissioner. It was me, Butch, the Mayor Brandon, and Willie Simmons. Willie Simmons is the current Transportation Commissioner now. But if you go look at the numbers of the Secretary of State, I beat Simmons in Hinds County and in Jackson. I got 43,000 votes statewide, which that was my first statewide campaign that I had ever done. I was only able to raise $10,000. I used $20,000 of my money, but they were going around telling folks not to give me any money. But they also were telling folks he will spend his own money, because that's how dedicated I am. I had just finished doing surfacing a few roads up in the Delta, and I'm standing in the church house. I promise y'all, I'm not lying. They called up to the Delta and told the mayor up there to hold my check. They held my check for 4 months, and the night Simmons beat me, I endorsed him in 24 hours, and the next week I got my check, and we laughed about it, because I knew that's what they had done. But they know that's how dedicated I am. I will spend my own money, because it's a passion for me to be a public servant or whatever. So, but I've been out here quite some time, and out of the 43,000 votes, I got approximately 22,000 votes in Hinds County, and I got approximately 17,000 in Jackson. Lumumba only won with 13,000 votes the last time. So if the election was tomorrow, I'm safe to say I got 7,000 people in this city that are already gonna vote with me. I feel that positive, because they've seen my leadership, and I've done a lot of things in the community outside of being in public service. Before I became mayor, like I said, can't remember what year it was, but I went to visit a school one day. It was cold. It was a cold day, and I was standing at the door watching the kids come in, and I saw so many kids come in without coats. A lot of them came in with runny nose. I was asking the principal, I was like, "Why, what's going on? Why all these children don't have coats?" Like, a lot of them don't have coats. They were using their shirts, for coats and things like that. So I came back to the office and I told my mom, I said, "You already know me." I said, "I want to do a coat drive." Y'all know most coat drives where they hand-me-down coats. You put boxes in certain places, just tell people. Well, we didn't do that. I said, "No, I don't want to do that." We went over to Walmart on 18. The manager said, "I'm going to give you a deal. I'm going to charge you $25 for every coat." I said, "All right, give me 100. Went to another school, and just like I said, it was just bothering me, all these children without coats. And God is my witness, my mom is my witness. I ended up buying 760 coats. Spent $42,000 at Walmart for these children. Lady off of West Street, Miss Johnson, I think that was her name, fostered 32 kids in the community. House burned down. I took $50,000 out of my pocket and built her house back for her. I've done those things in this community, and I'm telling you, anybody that know me, they will tell you all. I'm not just talking. My son was at Chastain Middle School playing basketball, and we went out. No, Provine. He went to after he left Chastain, he went to Provine. We went to a basketball tournament up in Corinth, Mississippi. One night, it was cold as all get out, and y'all know on those, when you riding on the highway on those yellow school buses, as you hit the little bump, the window keep dropping down. When we got back, all those boys were sick, had colds. I told the principal, I said, call JPS and tell them the Lord say the same. From this game on, these children are not, we won't need a bus. I provided a charter bus for them every step of the way. I spent a lot of time with the kids in JPS, the young men. I had plenty over my house all the time. And so, y'all, I'm just telling you all, the passion is here. The passion is here. It's here on the public side. It's here on the private side. I've not only just talked about it, I've shown it. I've shown it in this city. Yes, sir.
You said something about relationships. What would you say about your relationship with the state politicians, governor, etc.?
As former mayor, I had excellent relationships. Like I said, I got a lot of things done in Edwards because of my, the relationship I had with the governor, Congressman Thompson, the House of Representatives, the county supervisors. And people talk all the time now about, you'll hear people say, well, the mayor and the governor don't get along. The mayor doesn't have a relationship with the Hinds County supervisors. I go to the meetings all the time because I do a lot of construction work for the county. Never see the mayor there. As mayor of Jackson, I would meet with the supervisors at least once a quarter. And that when we meet that quarter, we're gonna sign any interlocals that need to be signed. We're gonna do collectively. We're gonna do ideas together. I may do a project and I'm $250,000 short. I want to be able to have this quarterly meeting where I can tell my supervisor I'm $250,000 short. I need y'all's help. That relationship is going to get it from them. I want them to be able to do the same with me. If they're short, call the mayor. I got you. So yeah, the relationship's very important. Like I said, a mayor is only as good as his relationship with his delegation.
We thank you.
We done? I thought we were going to go a little longer.
We thought you were the one that needed to get on here.
I'm good.
You good?
I'm good. I just wanted to make sure we answer all the questions. Yes, ma'am.
Thing too, I'm a member here, and I live in Madison. I grew up in Jackson, and I'm probably older than anybody in here. But anyway, I'm just like I say, I've been around here a long time. But anyway, we have been trying here. We're an older congregation here at Briarwood. I was at Central Presbyterian Church and we closed it, and a number of us came here at Briarwood 31 years ago. But anyway, we are trying our best to stay here too. We're struggling. We really are. We're older members and all, and I'm sorry that more of our congregation is not here tonight. But we are interested in the city of Jackson, of course. I was telling this lady right here, we have several of us that have, for about 5 years now, meet weekly at Eagle Bagel and pray for the city of Jackson and our church. And we were there this morning, and we sit there and we say our prayers out loud and the music in the background and all, but anyway, we're going forth. But we also reach out to the community on the third Thursday night of every month. We're trying to be consistent with that at 5 o'clock. That might not be a good time to come, but yet we also have been trying to work with our neighbors over here in the motel, our kids and all. They come and go, but anyway, we're here and we're available. But the third Thursday night might be another night that some of you want to come and just share, because we do have some officers from the police department that come and try to encourage us too, that they're doing their job and we are supportive of them. But the third Thursday night at 5 o'clock, and I've just ordered a banner. So when you go back here on the Monday before that Thursday night, but we also are trying to maintain a mailing list to let people know. We've even done, but the postage has gotten so much that we don't mail to everybody in the community anymore because it just doesn't work. But anyway, we're visible. We also, on the first Friday of every month, I'm out in front giving out free coffee and donuts. So if you see somebody out there like this, you know, well, it might be raining, but we're still going to be standing out here for an hour handing out coffee and donuts. And we're not, you know, we're not spreading the gospel at that moment, but yet we do hand out loaves too, if you want a loaf. So, but anyway, Briarwood Presbyterian, just know it, and we're pleased to have you all here in this game.
And let's say thank you for trying.
A couple other things that I, wanted to mention too, from a business development standpoint. Of course, like you said, we know that Jackson is 85% African American, but from a business opportunity standpoint, African Americans get less than 5% of the business opportunities here. Locals, meaning blacks and white businesses, get less than 20%. There is no way we can boost our local economy if we keep allowing the monies to leave out our city. When you look at the garbage contract, you look at this $800 million that they're spending, most of the companies that they're using are out-of-town companies. That's not going to happen under my watch. Years ago when I was in construction, they had an EBO office, City of Jackson, and at that time I think it was 12 to 16% that they had to use minorities on opportunities. Well, in my first year, at least 30% is going to have to go to local businesses. But when I was in Edwards, and one of the things that I also said on my journey as transportation commissioner was, not only would I make sure I have a minority percentage in every opportunity or supplier that is done or bought or whatever through the city, I would also have a separate percentage, a local percentage, meaning somebody from Jackson, Mississippi, black, white, whatever, has to get a piece of this opportunity. That's the only way we're going. There's no way we should be spending $800 million to fix water and sewer and local companies from Jackson not getting at least $200 million of that. But it's up to the mayor to make sure of that. I mean, not just shade tree businesses. I mean, you got to perform and do your thing, but you got to make sure that the local businesses, because guess what? If I don't make sure businesses are getting opportunities, I'm not going to get my hair cut every week. I'm not taking my clothes to the cleaners every week. And people don't understand that it trickles down. It may happen up top with the contractors, the engineers and folks, but soon, if you don't do anything about it, it's going to get to the mom and pop businesses. So I would definitely do that. Another thing, last thing, is in Madison, if your grass is not cut, they put a tag on your door and say, your grass need cutting. We need to come by and do it, or are you going to get it done? Or you got cars parked on the grass. Remember, I told y'all, I'm going to be one of those mayors that's going to do what's right. And I know I'm going to get a little drawback for certain things. But yeah, we're going to make sure folks keep their grass cut. We're going to keep these cars out of these yards. We're going to, all this junk stuff folks got in their yards, and all these real estate investors that's buying these properties and not keeping them clean. Oh yeah, we dropping the hammer on them. I promise you we are. And like I said, again, I'm gonna do all of these things, and if you don't vote me back in, so be it. Because I know I did the right thing. But I'm not gonna not do things because I'm worried about how somebody feels. We got work to do. We got to clean our city up. I want y'all to sit on your porches and enjoy. I want the children to be able to play in the yard. So we got to clean all this stuff up. We cannot have the foolishness going on at all. Last thing, if y'all are on social media, friend request me, Marcus L. Wallace 2025. That's my mayor page, or Marcus L. Wallace is my other pages, but I have things on there all the time about this mural campaign. I talk about other issues, that I see that needs to be done. And I tell you, I'm going to do something when I first get in office where I know y'all going to vote me in for the next 20 years. The viaducts on Monument Road, every time it rains, it's flooded. I promise y'all, that's one of the first projects I'm going to tackle. As a contractor, there is no way it's going to rain under my leadership and I'm going to tell folks you got to just go the other way. You pay taxes. You're supposed to be able to go under that viaduct. And guess what? It's a simple fix. I can guarantee you either something is clogged up, and if it is and you can't fix it, guess what? Water going to go wherever you send it. I'm just going to build a new trench and send the water to where it needs to go. So y'all remember that now. I'm telling you, I'm getting that viaduct fixed. I cannot stand that when it rains and they tell people to just go the other way. Come on, are we settling like that in Jackson now?
It's been happening for 50 years.
Yeah, no, we got to stop that. So I appreciate y'all having me. I know I could stand here and talk all night because it's in me. The passion is here. But the last thing I just want to tell you all, I would love the honor to be your next mayor.
Thank you.
We do want more people to know what Jacksonians for Jackson stands for. And we have been working at this for about a year and a half. And the only way that we can do that is for you to help us. So we would love for you to sign up for our newsletter, keep finding out what's going on, come to events like this, encourage those who were not here tonight to watch it on the YouTube channel. We thank our friend Walter for so faithfully coming and videoing these for us. Thank you again, and God bless.